The ratings are in for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite, and Dynamite has drawn the lowest viewership since January 2021. Meanwhile, the 18 to 49 demographic has drawn the lowest number since June 2020. All of the details on that, plus more details on how Tony Khan is selling the effects of his attack at the conclusion of Dynamite's last night. Swerve Strickland is set to open this week's edition of AEW Collision with an interview, and there's a special reason as to why. Could London be having a WrestleMania in the future? The Grizzled young veterans are set to make their AEW debut this Saturday on Collision. Cameron Grimes opens up about his WWE release and reveals he was told only 5 days ago that his job was not at risk. More details on how WWE Hall of Famers are going to be involved with the WWE Draft, and Jesse Ventura reportedly is in talks for a WWE return. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's talk about the ratings for AEW Dynamite that have just come out in the last couple of minutes or so, and it would appear that it's not good news at all for AEW, with some stiff competition causing a significant drop-off, not only in terms of total viewership, as well as the key demographic. Also, sound issues could have played a factor in this as well for AEW last night on TBS, because Wednesday night's Dynasty Fallout edition of AEW Dynamite averaged 683,000 viewers on TBS. Now that's down 10.4% from last week and marks the lowest audience total the show has done in its regular time slot since January 6, 2021, an episode that took place on the same day as the United States Capitol riot. Now, Dynamite drew a 0.23 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That is also down 11.5% from last week. It matches the lowest rating the show has done in that category on a Wednesday night since June 24, 2020. Yes, close to 4 years since the show has done that lower demographic number in its normal time slot. Now, it should be noted that the episode aired live on the West Coast, which was outside of prime time, and also experienced significant audio issues on TBS, something that Tony Khan did mention during the broadcast on his social media feed. It also went head-to-head with the NBA playoffs. But as compared to the same week in 2023, when Dynamite also went against the NBA, the show was down 20.9% in overall viewers and down 17.9% in the 18 to 49 demographic. So certainly not good numbers for AEW, being definitely hurt by competition, possibly hurt even more when it comes to audio issues, but also possibly hurt by just a coldness in terms of fans wanting to tune into the product. What are your thoughts on this? What's your reaction to this? Let me know your reaction to the ratings, to the total viewership in the comment section below. Now, speaking of Tony Khan, of course, he's selling the attack after Dynamite went off the air last night, and reportedly he was selling it backstage during a taping of AEW Rampage. Now, of course, Dynamite concluded with Tony Khan being attacked by the Elite, but how is the AEW president selling the effects of the vicious assaults from Jack Perry, the Young Bucks, and Kazuchika Okada? Well, AEW president Tony Khan got physical for the first time during last night's AEW Dynamite, where he was attacked by Jack Perry and eventually the Young Bucks. Now, the move was instantly compared to Vince McMahon's days of getting involved in storylines, and according to a report, Khan seems to be taking it seriously. Fightful Select is reporting that sources in AEW say Khan didn't simply sell the attacks on camera, but has since been selling his resulting storyline injury as well. The upcoming parking lot brawl between Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor was filmed early on Thursday, and their sources say Tony Khan was on set during the match, seen wearing a neck brace. Some have also questioned if Khan will be seen with the brace in the coming days during the NFL Draft, but now it's unknown if he will do so. Khan's involvement in the angle seems to have positioned Perry as an even bigger heel than he was before his suspension. Interestingly, while his heel turn was originally welcomed, he still received significant amount of criticism. Since his return to wrestling and embracing his role in CM Punk's AEW departure, it seems like fans are now warming up to him as a believable villain, especially after last night. So what are your thoughts on Tony Khan selling the injury on a closed set where nobody, I guess fans, would see him? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, Swerve Strickland. Many were wondering why last night, the first AEW Dynamite after Swerve Strickland won the AEW World Championship at Dynasty, we didn't really hear or have much fanfare about the brand new AEW World Champion. Well, it looks like there may be a bit of a plan in place by AEW for this one. Now, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland started his reign in fine fashion on the April 24 AEW Dynamite as he defeated Ring of Honor World Television Champion Kyle Fletcher in an eliminator match. Despite a strong performance, some were surprised to see Strickland wrestling so soon after his title victory over Samoa Joe at Dynasty, instead expecting him to cut a promo to give some insight as to what the future holds for him now that he is the AEW World Champion. However, this was all by design. Strickland will cut his first promo as the AEW World Champion at the beginning of the April 27 AEW Collision, which according to a report from Fightful Select is expected to get a big lead-in on TNT thanks to the show immediately following the NBA playoffs. AEW sources told Fightful that the game between the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat is set to be the best lead-in of AEW's year, meaning that by placing their new champion at the top of the show, the most possible eyes will be on Strickland, benefiting him greatly. Since Fletcher couldn't get the job done on Dynamite, fans have started to wonder who will be the one to step up to Strickland and be his first challenger. That question will be answered on the May 1st edition of AEW Dynamite in Winnipeg, as the man who will challenge Strickland for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing on May 26 will be announced. Outside of finding out who Strickland will face at Double or Nothing, fans in Winnipeg will see Chris Jericho make his first defense of the FTW Championship against Katsuyori Shibata, while Kenny Omega will make a special appearance in his hometown after being sidelined since December following being diagnosed with diverticulitis. So what are your thoughts on the plans by AEW to have Strickland cut his first promo with this strong lead-in? Does that make sense to you, or is it people trying to make up for him not having a promo last night on Dynamite? Now, this is a really interesting story when it comes to WrestleMania possibly taking place in London, here in England, in the United Kingdom. Now, ahead of an election next week, London's incumbent mayor, Sadiq Khan, took to X this morning, pledging to try and bring WWE WrestleMania to the city if he is re-elected. A few hours later, WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque offered a response on the same platform, telling Khan that the two sides should speak. This isn't the first time there have been teases for a WrestleMania to take place in London. Last year's WWE Money in the Bank, which emanated from London's O2 Arena, included an overt statement from John Cena hyping up the possibility. Additionally, numerous WWE stars have publicly talked about WrestleMania heading to the UK in the past, including Drew McIntyre and Gunther. The destination for next year's WWE WrestleMania 41 is yet to be announced, but the rumored frontrunner has been previously Minneapolis, Minnesota. However, it's also been rumored that Las Vegas could be the place that WrestleMania 41 is headed to. In fact, The Undertaker maybe even spilled the beans on a recent episode of his podcast. But that could indicate London is being eyed to host WWE WrestleMania 42 in 2026, but obviously it's too soon to say how far along in the process this actually is. Do you think we'll ever see WrestleMania in London here in the UK, or is it something that's not going to happen? Now, this is a really interesting story as well because a former WWE tag team, the Grizzled Young Veterans, are on their way to AEW. James Drake and Zach Gibson of the Grizzled Young Veterans requested their release from WWE following last year's WrestleMania 39 event in Los Angeles. While the company rejected their initial request, the pair announced they would not be re-signing with the company, with their contract set to expire later on in the fall. Drake and Gibson were a part of Joe Gacy's Schism faction on NXT under the names Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed as part of the Dyad tag team. The pair are now officially free agents and have made numerous appearances on the independent scene in recent months. They are now set to make their debut for AEW. Today, AEW uploaded a digital exclusive with Lexi Nair interviewing the tag team ahead of their AEW debut match, which is set for this week's episode of AEW Collision. So that now has been confirmed. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to Cameron Grimes, with him talking for the first time since his WWE release and actually revealing he was reassured that his job was safe just days prior to being released by World Wrestling Entertainment. Now, just days before being released by WWE, Trevor Lee was told that he didn't need to worry about losing his job. The former Cameron Grimes was released by WWE this past Tuesday. During an appearance on Busted Open Radio today, Lee said a pretty high executive told him last Friday that he would always have a job in WWE. He said, quote, "Literally, the last time I was at TV, I had a pretty high executive tell me because, I was worried. starting this stock market gimmick, it made me see businesses in a different light. You know what I mean? Following these companies and playing with stocks, I would see things in a different light. So I knew that I haven't worked in over a year and I'm making a decent salary. So I knew that if someone was to look at the books, I'm going to be the first person that's going to be cut. If you're looking at it strictly as a money-wise situation. But if you're looking at it as like, oh, okay, well, if this talent can do something for us, you know what I mean? They're going to keep me. So I was told by a high executive last week on Friday that I would always have a job here. I would never have to worry about losing my job here after expressing my concerns like that to him. And then 5 days later, they called me and told that I do lose the job. So I don't know. Now, Lee said he always joked with the locker room that he would be the next person gone. With the WWE Draft coming up, he had joked that he would be drafted to Thursdays when TNA Impact comes on television. Jinder Mahal, Xia Li, Via, Sanga, Zanquin, and Von Wagner were also released by WWE in advance of the draft. So what do you make of Cameron Grimes saying that? Is that bad by the executive? Do you think there should be greater communication? Or is that a case of what happens in these big companies? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, speaking of the WWE Draft, it looks like we're going to be seeing some Hall of Famers appear on both SmackDown and Raw as the draft takes place. Of course, the draft is set to begin on tomorrow's edition of SmackDown and will continue on next week's episode of Raw. WWE has typically brought in numerous Hall of Famers and legends of the past to help present the draft in recent years, and that seems to be the case again this year. Per PW Insider, the plan is to once again bring in a number of WWE Hall of Famers for tomorrow night's SmackDown. Some of the names that have been bandied about include John Bradshaw Layfield, Teddy Long, and Alundra Blaze. The pools and the rules for the 2024 WWE Draft were officially released yesterday, with some notable names missing from the draft. Of course, we get any more details and updates on the draft, we'll let you know in the future. And finally, it looks like a WWE Hall of Famer could be back in talks with WWE after the departure of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon resigned from his role as TKO Executive Chairman back in January, following the sex trafficking and abuse lawsuit filed against him, John Laurinaitis, and the company. Since his resignation, McMahon has sold the majority of his stock in TKO, with him now officially having no power in the company. Following McMahon's departure and the beginning of a new era under Triple H, Nick Khan, and TKO, WWE Hall of Famer Jesse Ventura revealed on The Vanguard that he and WWE have been in talks. He said, quote, "I will tell you this. Now that wrestling has chosen this new direction, shall we call it, Jesse Ventura is in talks with them. But again, it required them going in this new direction. And I hope you get what I'm saying about the new direction. The direction the company is now going was good enough for Jesse Ventura and the WWE to begin talking again." Of course, Ventura was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2004. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.